Today on Off and On the Clock, a fun doubleheader here. In the first half of the show, we are going to dive into World Cup DFS. It is here. It is on Underdog. It is glorious. Here's the thing, though. We don't know anything about soccer, but we are bringing an expert on, Alex Harden, a.k.a. FearMyTurtle from Establish the Run. He's going to walk us through strategy, how we should be thinking about this World Pup contest. It is a $10 entry, $30K to first tournament. There's also the free kick, which is a $1 entry. So we're going to dive all into that here right off the rip. And then in the second half, it's an annual tradition at this point. We're going to do our NFL draft round 1/2, all the skill position players that are relevant, trying to guess their landing spots, seeing who can get the most right. I'm Pete with John and Nez. This is Off and On the Clock. All right, guys, here we are. Another Tuesday show, ready to rock. It feels like we've lived a lifetime since we did final NBA playoff strategy last week, but how are we doing?
Not too bad.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ness. Go ahead.
No, just same old baseball, NBA. Just enjoying the playoffs right now, which have been pretty entertaining so far. We got a couple 1-1 series going on here. It's been good to watch for sure.
Nice. What about you, John?
Yeah, more of the same. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Pretty fun that in the last 16, 18 hours, we're going to cover 5 sports. So that gets my juices flowing. That gets me really excited. Once upon a time, Pete, proud season ticket holder for the Vancouver Whitecaps. So, none of those guys made the player pool because they all suck. But, I like the beautiful game a little bit here.
Love it. Yeah, it's obviously awesome to have this this year. I mean, 4 years ago, the last World Cup, I mean, we were a long way away from being able to have an ecosystem to support World Cup drafts. And now you look at this and people are already starting to get in there, and it seems like a fun way to spend the summer.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to the help on this because I love to watch the World Cup and learn who these players are in real time. I'm going to need to do a little bit of homework, obviously.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get boots on the ground for that. Are there any games in your guys' region? Because it is.
Yeah.
My region, it's like in my backyard because they're going to have a few at Gillette, and I've not pulled the trigger on tickets, but I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to go to at least one game over there. What about you guys?
Yeah, I feel so similarly. Like we were in the lotto for the tickets and stuff like that, and then we rolled like blind dates and blind games. So it was kind of like, okay, like I can't really schedule my life around that and spend like $3,000 on like this mystery package that like those tickets could be worth $50 by the time it's all said and done. If it's like 2-0 burger countries that have no contention, right? So we're going to wait it out a little bit, but I feel the exact same way, Pete, where it's like, I just want to get in the barn for like one game at least, just to see what the atmosphere is like, see what the vibe's like.
I would love to be able to get down there. I just don't even think it's going to be realistic, but we'll see. I guess I'll keep my options open. But one thing that's funny is they're playing in Jerry World, and it's, of course,
that is funny,
AT&T Stadium, and they have to cover up the name of the stadium for the games because they can't allow a corporate name to be shown that isn't sponsored, that isn't part of the sponsors. So they're calling it Dallas Stadium during the World Cup.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wonder like the cognitive dissonance for Jerry Jones of being like so excited to host a World Cup game, but then not be able to have the, his branding and stuff on it. I wonder if he's how pissed he is about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that was the tough compromise for sure. Like even in the inside, they've already begun taking down every logo of AT&T and everything to accompany. Wow. Yeah, dude, FIFA doesn't mess around about their money, man. I'll tell you.
We already got World Cup banners all like lining the bridges driving into downtown. Like, I drove Nikki downtown the other day and it was just like, holy shit, whoa, World Cup all the way along. It was pretty cool.
That is sweet. Yeah, the game I want to go to that's in our backyard is England versus Ghana. And I think that's like getting to see England. I think they're maybe second in odds to win it all. And then Ghana always has like a really solid team.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, go see a little Harry Kane action. Harry Kane with a high ADP in our contests.
You were talking about multi-sport stuff. I did, just out of curiosity this morning, check my dance teams to see how they were doing. And both teams that we drafted last week on stream, Wizakarian and Bloomstein, are currently advancing right now. So I think that did they both have Jokic? I know at least one of them did.
We were drafting from the no, that was you and I that drafted from the 4 hole.
I guess I can just pull it up here.
Yeah.
I think one was the Joker team and one was the debate what we should do at 104. But I can't really remember.
Both of them are Jokic. Yep, I just checked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, one was the Jokic fell to us, so we didn't have the debate. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the team we drafted with Zakarian is the Cleveland one. So, Mobley's hitting our lineup, Donovan Mitchell's hitting our lineup, and then Scotty Barnes is hitting our lineup. We knew we needed those wing points on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully they don't get swept. Hopefully they get IQ back for game 3 because they look quite discombobulated. They made some of the adjustments we wanted to see last night, but they didn't make all of them. And they just too much Jamal Shed.
Yeah. The chat's already concerned about us ruining ADPs immediately. I mean, I would say, I wonder how fast, like for those of you guys who are drafting, and we'll ask Alex here in a sec too. I wonder how the kind of liquidity, are people already piling in there to take advantage, or is everybody kind of waiting to feel things out?
I think it's the fact that they have the $1 in there that's helping with ADPs, or helping shape them to some form of efficiency. But there's already been almost 200 drafts in that, and almost 100 drafts in the main. So we're taking shape.
There you go. Yeah. And, go ahead, John.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that if you wanted to bring up the tool, because that's what was helping me understand literally anything.
Yeah. So tell us, set up this tool here. Tell me what we're about to look at.
Yeah, so Melsh has been around for a long, long time, hanging out in the chat of the Badge Bro stuff, and popping in and out of the off and on the clock stuff all the time. And he's messed around with some baseball stuff in the past there, and it's just a tool that you can use progressively while drafting, where you have to manually input who you're drafting. But it's just a nice, clean look at just knowing, like, because we'll talk about strategy and stuff, but effectively, like, it's like the NBA bracket. It's like the there's a bee right. What the hell? I'm tripping, man. The windows are open.
No screens in the windows.
That was crazy. No, they're like not in that one. No. So it's just like a good visual where it's like, I obviously don't know the bracket the same way in which we know like the NBA and the NHL one. So I don't know like my quadrants and who not to overlap with. And if I'm building out X team, what do we do with like Y team and that sort of thing. So this is just a nice clean look at it. And then as you progressively fill out your bracket, as you fill out your roster, you get a better picture of like, okay, don't take this team, take that team, get some like player overlap. And he's got it all broken down by position, ADPs. And then he's even got some tags in there for like, guys that he thinks undervalued or whatever when you go down to the bottom. So yeah, it was like, oh, here's my, I mean, you want to talk about what we talked about at the top of the show is like the games have come so far. I mean, this contest gets dropped. We've never had any soccer on the platform before, and this tool exists for free like 20 hours later. Like the games have come a long way.
I feel like the funniest part about this is going to be who is going to volunteer as tribute to record the definitive name pronunciation guide for this player pool and just record like a 90-second short reading every name correctly in ADP order. I would consume that video as someone who fears he might have to say some of these names.
There's a 0% chance that I'm the guy for the job.
Yeah, Messi, Kane, I mean, Mbappe, there's some household names up here, but Mikel Oyarzabal, Ousmane Dembele.
Ousmane. We got a ooze in the NBA, so I know ooze.
There you go. But our guest is here early, and I think he probably could sense that we were already just swimming without a life preserver. So let's go ahead and bring Alex, aka FearMyTurtle, the man behind the soccer squad over at ETR, here to be our guide through the World Cup cosmos today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me. Yeah, pretty awesome that we have soccer on Underdog. So looking forward to talking through some stuff with you all.
Right on,
yeah,
dude.
let us was there World Cup DFS on DraftKings 4 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty big too.
Yeah.
So I mean, soccer DFS has been pretty popular. I mean, it's kind of hit a plateau at some point, but yeah, been in the streets for a while. DK and FanDuel contest. That's not so
Lost him for a sec.
much, but yeah, DraftKings contest.
Hey, Alex, if you can hear us, your video feed keeps clipping for us for a second here.
Yeah, do I have your back?
Yeah, we got you now, but I missed that entire segment of good information.
Yeah, so yeah, DraftKings has had DFS soccer for a while, and World Cup contests were pretty big because it usually happens during the summer, but sometimes the World Cup's overseas, weird time of day. But now that we have a North America World Cup, I think contests should be pretty good on DraftKings. Yeah, just because the times line up and summer, only like kind of baseball going on, so it should be fun.
And then how obviously playing the daily games on DraftKings is going to be different than a contest, that goes the duration of the entire contest. So like, what were some of the things when you were reorienting your DFS brain for this specific Underdog contest? Like, what do people need to know here?
Yeah, the first thing was the scoring system. So it's different than both DraftKings and FanDuel. Goals are kind of de-weighted versus DraftKings. They're missing some. They don't have any like foul stats. So passes are worth 0.05 on Underdog, and they're only 0.02 on DraftKings. So like possession heavy teams, their guys kind of get a floor bump there. I noticed clean sheets for defenders are 5 on Underdog. They're only 3 on DraftKings. So yeah, it's just a little bit different. So trying to reorient that, and then like moving it into like a best ball contest where there's like group stage and bracket. Took a while to kind of get my head around it, but I think I have a pretty good idea. And just the fact this is the first 48 team World Cup is kind of overwhelming in and of itself.
Yeah. Yes. And so as far as, we obviously play a bunch of the playoff best ball formats. We were just doing the NBA stuff last week, obviously NFL, hockey, they all kind of have a similar, strategy where you are trying to correlate and get, these teams to the finals. Like how much of that team level correlation plays into this structure?
I mean, I think it's huge. Like that's like the main thing. You're not drafting the best players. You're drafting a team that can win this contest. So really you're kind of working backwards. You need a full roster for the finals to win this. So I think it immediately cuts out a lot of the teams in the player pool. There's like 48 teams, and I think only maybe 18 to 20 of them are viable like players to draft from. So it kind of cuts some of that out immediately, and you can just focus on the top half of the teams, and especially like the top 8 or so, because I mean, we get some upsets from time to time, like Morocco made the semis last World Cup, but generally speaking, it's going to be your Spain's, France, Argentina types near the end, and you're going to need teams with them to be live in this contest.
Cool. From a structural standpoint, like how many guys have you been thinking, like how many's too many from like one team and whatnot?
And like I've kind of been going back and forth on that. Like I got through 30 drafts yesterday and did a bunch of different things. So like I had a 10-man Spain stack was the highest I went, and then there's some others where I only had like 4-man, like 2 4-mans and then some one-offs. So I think there's a few ways to go about it. I wouldn't really overstack any of the teams outside maybe the top like 3 or so, but you can certainly get like you can do 6-6, you can do 4-4. Like there's a lot of ways to do it, I think, and obviously brand new game, so it's not solved at all. So in my portfolio teams, I'm just going to try to do a bunch of different things and then like draft different teams as the contest evolves and the ADP shifts.
Just to re-emphasize that, so these go 12 rounds, so 72 players are drafted. You said you did a team with 10 Spain, so only two different other teams.
Yeah, I mean I think I didn't go above like 6 or 7 on any other team, but saw a path there, and I just went full Spain. Gotta go full Spain.
Yeah. Okay. So as someone who's never played like any form of, footy DFS to totality and completion, like at the end of like a match, like, most of these are pretty tight and like low scoring affairs in the World Cup, right? Like just in a vacuum.
Yeah. They're generally like more boring games. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like everybody's like staying back on their heels, playing formation. Like, hey, we can upset a team if we just keep it 0-0 forever kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So then with like these clean sheet bonuses and like that sort of thing, like, is it all that matters is picking a winner then? Like, is like, that's kind of where my head goes, because I'm like, if we're anticipating low scoring games and like scoring doesn't separate all that much from clean sheet, should we really just be prioritizing like defensively sound teams with opportunities to win effectively?
Yeah, it's tricky because like goals are still going to matter. You just don't really know where they're going to come from. And like teams like Spain are going to get games where they can win 5-6-0 just because of like the 48 man. There's more minnows in the group stages. So like Spain might have 2 games where they score 5+ goals in the first round. So while those clean sheets and like passing floor type defenders will help, like you still need to find the goals in those teams as well. So it's kind of tricky because it's a lot different than like normal DFS. Like normal DFS, soccer is not a mega stacking sport because like you're really just not going to play like DFS lineups on like a, I don't know, 4 or 5 game slate where you're playing like 6 plays from one team generally. But in this format, just because it's best ball and you have the advancing component and just like the relative team strength component that's different than like a, say, Premier League stuff, I think stacking is definitely more relevant in this format.
So one thing that jumps out to me just looking at it, so round 1 advancement, which is going to include all of the group stage, 2 of 6 advance. So correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to get multiple games in the group stage and 1/3 of the pod is going to advance. So like to me that says like variance is going to be kind of smoothed out in that one if we're getting multiple games. But then you jump to the 1 of 8 in the quarterfinal stage. That's just a single game and only 1 team advances. That seems to me like variance is going to be pretty wild in round 2.
Yeah, so the round 2 is the round of 32 and round of 16, so you get 2 games in there.
Oh, so you do get 2. Okay.
The format for the group, backing up to the group stage, we have 12 groups of 4 teams. They each play round robin, so there's 3 guaranteed games. The top 2 in each group advance, and then also the top 8 third-place teams advance. And that feeds into a 32-man bracket, 32-team bracket. The thing is, for this contest, we don't know where the teams are going to go in the bracket because the first and second place teams in each group get split between the top and the bottom of the bracket. So you can say, I think Spain and France are going to win their group and they're going to be here. But if one of those teams gets second, they're all of a sudden in the different bracket than you expected. So it's really tough to plan, like saying like, I want teams from France and Spain because they're going to be on the opposite side of the bracket. But if they win, they both win their group, they're going to be on the same side. So it's kind of tricky in that regard because you don't really, it's not a clean bracket. It's based on how the group stage plays out.
Yeah, it's a full reseed dynamic, so you never know who's going to play who. Okay.
Yeah, but like generally speaking, if like Germany, Belgium, Spain, and France, if they all win their bracket, they win their group, they're going to be on the top part of the bracket. Then like if Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, and England, if they all win their group, they're going to be on the bottom. So that's just looking at the 8 biggest favorites in the group stage where they would go. So I have that stuff written out that like, because it matters to an extent, especially if you're stacking teams with those 2 teams. If they do well, they're more likely that they won their group, and it's more likely that's where they're going to go in the knockout stage. But it's a far from guarantee because they can do well and then still get second in the group and not be where you expected them to be in the knockout stage.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that kind of gives more credence to like the large stacks because at least you're guaranteeing yourself a path to have 6 live in the finals.
So it sounds like other than maybe like the super heavy hitters that you feel pretty good about their advancement odds, you're just not going to try to play bracket dynamics too much when you draft.
Yeah, generally speaking, like I'm paying attention to the top 8, and I'm still fine stacking like teams like Spain and France together, even though they would be on the same side of the knockout stage if they win their group. But yeah, further down, I'm not really using it too much based on
In layman terms, how do I know that they'll be on the same side of the following one? Like one's group H, one's group I that I'm seeing right now. Like which are bundled together for the second iteration?
Yeah, it's super tricky. I found like a bracket on like I think it was on Fox Sport that actually was like the first place in this group goes here. Then like the thirds are like the third from like group G, H, I, J, K, like here. So it's not straightforward at all.
It's not clean.
But
Okay.
you can find brackets out there that kind of show where teams would go if they get first or second in their group.
Okay, perfect. We'll look that up. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
What about, one of the dynamics that, we're always talking about, with NBA playoff best ball relative to NFL, where it's like, a single touchdown can make a fringe player pretty relevant in the NFL format. But then in like the NBA format, like an 8th man, like it doesn't even matter if you get him to the finals, like he might not even crack your lineup. How fringe are you able to get with some of these really good teams, like down their depth chart versus trying to get some one-offs who are really high usage players for maybe a so-so team?
Yeah, I think you have to take some shots because first of all, the squads aren't even final. There's still a lot of teams, especially like Brazil, you have no clue who their team is going to be. So like I think it's like 2 weeks before the World Cup, the teams have to submit their final 26. So a lot of teams are still working on those fringe guys. I would say you have to take shots at this point and mix and match. There's going to be spots that are rotated, like France, for example. Like they have probably one spot in their front three that's going to be kind of up for grabs between like Cherki, who's been great for Man City this season, and then like Desiree Doucouré, I think he plays in League One. But like Doucouré might start the first game. If he does well, he still might get rotated out for Cherki in the second game. So the fringe guys are difficult, especially in the group stage, because they're not really guaranteed a lot of playing time. However, the teams have favorable matchups. They can start one game, do well, score a goal, and then like come off the bench in the other 2 games and still maybe score a goal or 2. So I think it's viable for the high-end teams. I really wouldn't be taking chances on guys who I don't think are going to play much on even mid-level teams.
Do you have to play the entirety of the game to receive a clean sheet?
It depends on the site rules. I know on DraftKings it's 60 minutes for defenders. So I'd have to check the fine print, but I would assume they would do something like that. But I know FanDuel, I think you had to play the whole 90. So that's definitely a good point when talking about like, especially fullbacks, because generally like the center backs will play 90s generally, but fullbacks a lot of times will get subbed out. So that's definitely a good point to check on.
Generally speaking, I mean, yes and no, because generally speaking, like when they do get subbed out, it's probably because they're trailing and they're bringing another striker onto the pitch to then try and score, right?
Yes, I mean, there's just some fullbacks who like run a lot during the games, and they're going to sub out at like 75 or 80, kind of regardless of how things are going.
Okay, cool.
But it's pretty player and team dependent.
Let's you go ahead, Pete. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I have the ADP pulled up. I guess I have a 3-part question for you here. My first question is like, how efficient are these ADPs already? 2, it seems based on like how buried defenders and goalies are that this scoring format really makes you prioritize more offensive players, forwards and mids. And then 3rd, have you noticed any positional scarcity elements where you might be really screwed if you aren't, locking up a certain position by a point in the draft?
Yeah, I'll say the ADPs are decent, especially near the top end. Like the top handful of guys are all there. I think beyond that, it's just a lot of like personal preference and what you kind of envision the team being. Like I generally think Brazilian guys are being overdrafted, but I am lower on Brazil than the market is for say. Like their win odds for the World Cup is surprisingly high relative to what I would have them. So I think they're being overdrafted, but I think their ADPs are certainly fine. To answer your question, like structurally, like goalies are tricky because they're kind of like a necessary evil in this format. You have to draft them kind of where they're actually going in ADP. I think they could come up, but like that's a position where like if you're planning out like a France stack or whatever, and then you miss on the France goalie, like it's kind of like fuck. So you kind of have to reach on the goalies sometimes to kind of make things work, or just like pivot and like build like a stack on with another team, like grab a defender and goalie from another team. But obviously, if you're building out a full France team, you'd like to have their goalie as well. So I'm finding myself reaching a bit on goalies when necessary, especially if I'm not losing. There's not much opportunity cost in that like third, fourth round.
Yeah, interesting parallels to the Zamboni with the goalie stuff, where you like stake your claim on your stack. Where okay, now I got the Tendy. Now we move on. Yeah, I saw you in a couple of my drafts there on I guess Saturday morning or something like that. But yeah, so staking claim on your stacking. Is there anyone from like a goalie standpoint that stands out to be like, best in the world? Like this is the team to stack around. Like I don't know. Like my bro science version is like England, and like Pickford's like the guy that you're just like, oh yeah, that's the guy. But is there anyone else who's like, hey, this guy could steal a tournament kind of deal?
Yeah, from like I would actually agree with you in terms of Pickford being like the highest combination of like the highest upside goalie versus the team that has a chance to go furthest, because a lot of times England will sit back a little bit, absorb shots. Like Pickford's pretty talented. Generally, I just view goalies as just a piece of the team and don't really have any like goalie skill takes whatsoever. And it's just them as part of the team. But Pickford's someone who like generally has pretty high ceiling DFS games just because of like the teams that he's on. I don't know if England's going to play super differently under Tuchel than as compared to like Southgate. Maybe they'll be a bit more aggressive, but I don't know. England's always been a team that's been disappointing in World Cups lately, so it's hard to say like Pickford's the best of any, or an England guy's the best of anything. But new World Cup, you never know.
Yeah,
maybe it'll come home this season. I mean this year. I don't think so, but there's a chance.
It's never coming home.
So be honest with us, and comments like this from our guy Chad. I was going to try pull one up. He had one earlier in the chat. He goes, "Thought I was ready for this, but I'm I'm way in over my head here." Part of me here is like, just correlate. How bad could it be? Where is the ball knowing finesse, or where could things go wrong just for a correlation bro who doesn't know much soccer?
I think the biggest thing about like the ball knowing is just knowing where the player stands in the squad. Like if they're like a nailed on starter, or if there's someone that's like a fringe player. I think you can come into this draft, know nothing about soccer, and just like structurally draft sound teams. I saw plenty of people who I've seen a lot of underdog drafts who I don't think they're soccer people, but like they drafted fine teams yesterday. And then there's other people who are just obviously no clue what they're doing. So if you know underdog drafts and how to go about them, especially the playoff formats, I think you can do well here and build solid teams even without a lot of player take stuff.
And then let people know, like, what are you guys going to be doing at Establish the Run, like for the World Cup? Are you guys going to have anything specific for Underdog? If people do want to kind of like pony up and take this seriously, what are you guys going to be doing?
We're going to be enjoying the summer and playing best ball and firing and stuff. No formal product or anything, but
okay.
I'm sure everybody will have a sweat on something, but yeah, no product.
Okay. So will you be creating your own rankings and kind of tweaking them as you see like roster information or whatever?
Yeah. I'll be playing all like the DFS stuff and the BRs and stuff. This one was a kind of a surprise. I really wasn't expecting Best Ball World Cup until I heard something about a week ago, and I was like, okay, got to get something loosely together. But yeah, I'm gonna dial stuff in once I know like the squads and stuff. Now it's drafting more just on how I see stuff and trying to understand the game.
Cool. What kind of resources then, if you guys don't have a product, can you like point me towards to like learning? Like, am I just going to be spamming, EPL top of table stuff and seeing, who's actually good and stuff, or what would be like, a spot for me resource wise?
I saw a pretty good preview series on RotoWire overviewing like the World Cup teams. They usually have pretty solid soccer stuff in general. And then beyond that, just paying attention for the final squads. If you need to look up stats, like there's a bunch of different like FB Ref is a good resource to look up stats, both the national team and club level. And then RotoWire has a bunch of soccer stats you can pull from as well. So those are some resources that I use. And just like, I don't know, I'll Google like World Cup preview England and read like 10 different things. I'm sure you've been in that kind of situation. And like over time, you kind of learn which are the like things that make sense, like worth reading, and then which are just like the AI slop sites that you need to stop clicking on. So
question for you on like the roster stuff. And obviously if a guy's like not a starter or whatever, I can see how that would impact it. But if in general, you're only drafting say 6 or 7 players from a team, like I'm assuming those guys are like pretty locked and loaded in their role in like the top 11. Like where does that actually get a little dicey?
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're pretty locked on, but once you get out of like the 4th, 5th, 6th round, like there's not as many guarantees. There's just like squads like the top 8, they have a lot of depth at these positions. Like England, like Cole Palmer is a phenomenal player, but there's like no guarantee that he starts every game. Like someone like Elliot Anderson could play a bit more. Like you just really never. Marcus Rashford, like I really don't have a good feel on like how he'll play. Like he could like barely play at all, play off the bench 20 minutes a game or start. I really don't know. There's a lot of questions on some of these top end teams. That's why there's such a premium for like the guys that you like the top end, like you just know are going to start and play generally 90 every game and produce. And there's just not that many of them because like this is like a one-off thing, like every 4 years where they actually all their best players actually come together and care for once. And like there's international competitions where they players get called up, but like if they have any sort of nagging injury, they're just going to sit out. So you never really get that full picture for most of these squads.
Can we go like cross sport or something like that with, I don't know what your best cross sport comp would be. I mean, maybe college football or something, which doesn't play too well for me to learn anything. But like just in terms of like, I want to know who like the Blazers are out here, who are like, bad ADPs who are just going to lose to the Spurs or like that kind of stuff where I want to kind of like take the lens back a little bit because we talk so much like Spain, France, England, like these are the clear favorites. Who has a path that we're like not talking about yet, or like who is bad chalk, who is whatever, like in the frame of the contest?
Okay, I like that question. Now we're getting into the good stuff. I think generally Brazil's the bad chalk.
Okay.
I'll be light on them kind of regardless. I don't think their ADP is going to drop. Like people see World Cup in Brazil and they see players that are super skilled. They're going to draft like guys like Vinny Jr. been phenomenal for Real Madrid, but like he really hasn't produced much with Brazil. Like Brazil is just like, I don't know if there's a comp in another sport, but like it's just a bunch of pieces that do not fit together. And it's just like bring a bunch of guys in who are skilled and roll the ball out and it just doesn't work in this kind of competition. And you've alluded to it before where it's like more conservative and more like structural and like less like flair, generally speaking. It just, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with them lately. I don't think they even know what they're going to do who their 11 is going to be. So I'll be light on Brazil almost assuredly.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I like that. From a room dynamic standpoint, are there guys fighting for the Spurs and OKC and Denver every single time?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what are the teams that everyone's fighting over every time? It's England, Spain, France.
France is an absolute bloodbath because if you get 2 or 1 or 2, Mbappe's going 1 or 2 in like every draft. So if you draft him, it's been impossible to get Olise. He's at 5'5" ADP. I haven't seen one draft where Mbappe and Olise have gone together. So that's kind of like your, and then Dembele's
right there.
Yeah. I mean, that can be, Shea and then like Chet and JW is Mbappe, Olise and Dembele. Like you can get Olise and Dembele teams and some Mbappe Dembele teams, but like I haven't seen Mbappe Olise at all. So if you ever have a chance to scoop that up, I would take advantage of that.
Okay.
And then after that, like you take Mbappe too, and you miss out on Olise and Dembele, and it's kind of deflating. You're like, what am I going to do? Like stack like these France mids who do nothing, or like these defenders that like I don't even know if they're going to start. So it's kind of tough. Like I almost prefer those France stacks without Mbappe, like get Olise and Dembele, then build out a deeper France stack there. So France is kind of tricky. Spain is a little bit easier because you can take Yamal 1 or 2, and then like almost assuredly you're going to get one of Yarzabal or Nico Williams falling to you, and sometimes all 3. I probably have a handful of drafts yesterday where you can get all 3, and then move on from there. And then you're really probably trying to overdraft Simone, their goalie, to make sure you get them. Spain is tricky because they have a top 3, and then like Poro has an ADP of 23, but like he's no guarantee to start at right back. They could bring out the corpse of Donny Carvajal again, who knows? And then they have mids who are not like super like fantasy smashers. So yeah, this is not a scroll down situation where you're going way down there, Pete. Yeah.
I was thinking, like, I'm like, dude, we got 11 on the pitch on each side. Like, this is gonna be easy to build out stacks, and it sounds the opposite.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky when you just like go into it. Like those front 3 for Spain are going to start. I don't know who their fullbacks are going to be. So like Poro is kind of questionable. I think Cucurella will start, but they have plenty of other options at left back. Pedri and Rodri are really safe to start, in my opinion, assuming they're healthy, but they're not big fantasy scorers. You're drafting them more for like the later rounds where you need to like have like spots filled in. They're not going to be advance rate guys. Like they're not going to carry your team out of the group stage. And then like Kubarsi is probably their most likely starting center back. The other one's kind of up in the air, but he might score well in the group stage with like those passing points and the clean sheets. But like once you get past that, he's not going to be a guy that's going to carry your team at all either. So yeah, it's kind of tricky when you kind of dive into the actual players, how to build out these teams that make sense.
But he's so goated for just having one name guys in the queue. Like,
yeah,
that's
immediate,
so sweet.
Immediate bump if you see a one name guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All Brazil.
Guy. That's so Brazil. Electric, man.
But like you mentioned like not aggressive scroll down, but like it did seem like you were hinting at some like fragile ADPs in rounds 3 and 4, guys who might not start in like with their counterparts who have like ADPs of 70. Like, would you price any of those at like, hey, it's 50-50, like fade the guy who's getting drafted every time and take the shot on the undrafted teammate?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you filter to France, there's some guys that don't have an ADP that could certainly play a role like further down, like Cherki, Dure. Like they didn't have ADPs to start the contest. Now they're in the 60s. Like you can certainly take shots on those two. They're probably most likely to take one spot on the field. So like if you just wanted to take one as a one-off, like I wouldn't take them as like a pair. Probably just pick one of them, but you could certainly draft both in a France stack. Yeah, Chouamini is going to start every game. Don't really know about Rabiot, so yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of questions with who's actually going to start. And like one bad game, they have options to rotate. So you're going to deal with a lot of things. Like these players could get injured in their club seasons as they finish out. Just like the final squad, you don't know who's going to be on it. Like they play some exhibition games generally a couple weeks before the World Cup. Like those will probably be the lineups that are closer to like a dress rehearsal type lineup. So we'll probably get more information then. So I'll probably be taking a barbell approach on drafting, if you will, like trying to do a lot this week, take a few weeks off, try to get some more information, and then hammer them home like before the contest.
Awesome. Yeah. That's just for, the dunce caps like me, EPL and stuff like that's ending like this week, next week, something like that.
I think there's still a few weeks, maybe
a
like
couple
another,
weeks
like,
still. Okay.
I think so. Maybe like another month or maybe like 3 weeks or so. Yeah, it's pretty close up to the World Cup. You'd think there'd be bigger gaps, but it's kind of how it rolls, I guess.
Okay, cool. Are Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David the most disrespected people in the player pool right now, or are they?
I don't know. Someone's been like sniffing some maple syrup or something because like
it's in his blood. It's in his blood, Alex.
Yeah, I can respect that. No, I mean like teams like that can make runs. Like it just, I'm trying to simplify it here with my approach. So like I probably won't have like a Canada guy on any.
Tell it how it is, Alex. Let them know how shitty this squad is and how.
I just said
Let
like
them know. Let them know.
I'm gonna do 300 teams and I won't have a Canadian. Sorry.
Love it.
Okay, so that's actually a really good segue because there's a billion teams to choose from. There's 48 teams to choose from. How many of them are actually legitimately draftable?
Top 18 to 20.
Okay.
I would say. And in that like 18 to 20 range, there'll be a couple like Canada's probably fringe on that list. Like there'll be a couple teams I just won't take shots, and there'll be some where I'll take more shots. But beyond that, I just don't see the reason or upside. It's not like like the NBA where like say the Nuggets were bad and like Jokic was going to play like a 6-game series on a team that's likely to lose and like he puts up a ton of points and helps your advance rate. Like it's not really going to work like that. So to speak. Like if you're a team that's going to lose all 3 of your group stage games, like you're not producing fantasy points generally. So it's a pretty heavy correlation with like teams like fantasy production. Like if you just think about it, how soccer works, like if Spain's playing like Cape Verde or whoever, and they don't touch the ball the whole game, like they can't produce fantasy points. So yeah, it's pretty easy. If you think 48 teams overwhelming, you can more than cut that in half and be totally fine.
Okay, cool.
The couple things here for people wondering, we are doing this show like the day after the contest launch. You do have until June 11th to draft these teams, but we were excited and kind of like what we did with the dance. It's fun to get a review here right off the rip, and I'm sure we'll check in as we get closer. There are the 2 contests in the lobby. Alex referenced drafting 300 teams. You could do 150 in the $10 World Pup. You can do 150 in the $1 free kick there. And also, I'll say, John and Nez, I wasn't sure if people were going to be excited for World Cup soccer. The chat has been popping. There are a lot of soccer knowers in the chat firing off takes today.
Yeah, shout out Chris Diaz just with all the free alpha. I appreciate it, man. I'm taking notes over here. My AI agent is replicating your decision making 1-to-1. So thanks a lot.
Let's see here, Alex. You want to draft a team with us and kind of
let's
talk through some of these dynamics?
Let's go for it.
I would like to put in my one question for the show.
One, make it good, Ness.
Can you justify a Holland one-off on any team?
Oh yeah, Holland's great.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really solid play.
But like, how far are they going to go realistically?
I mean, they're a team that could sneak into that like group of 16 type round. Like I think they're pretty live. Like I tiered out the teams. I had them in like bottom end of tier 3 for me, which is like top 12-ish range.
Okay.
I might be a little higher on them than most, but I think they have some pretty clean stack pieces as well for this contest, like Holland,
that's fun.
Guard.
Yeah, that's really fun. Cool.
So we got the 104. Are you guys seeing this? I thought this guy, John Boy Beats, went into witness protection after his March Madness betting threads bombed, but this is his first time making a public appearance.
This is the only way to make it back, baby. This is the only way to get it back. Full brand pivot to the beautiful game.
I can't wait for the World Cup betting threads brought to you by Quad Code.
Alex, is there a group of death this year? Like that's always a term that gets thrown around during World Cup. Is there anyone that we should be like really scared about that's like, maybe a upper echelon favorite, but could struggle with their own group?
I really don't think so, just because the move to 48 kind of diluted stuff. So like you see like groups with like 2 decent teams, but like there's just so many like bottom end teams in every group. I don't think there really exists one in the same way that there had been in the past with only 32 teams. Like, because like these are all back end teams being added pretty much.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
We're on the clock here. We have a France, Spain, England pick. What do you like here at 4, Alex?
4 in this spot. I'm generally going Messi or Olise. It's kind of just a pick your poison type thing. If you go Olise, there's a chance you could take Dembele in the second round. I don't really like a lot of Argentina guys outside of Messi, so that could end up being more of like a one-off type thing. But Olise is perfectly fine. He's been great for Bayern this year.
All right. We're going to make the assumption of rational draft mates. John Boy Beats, Jay Fresh, stay in your fucking lane, boys.
That's crazy that you get like a 38-year-old Messi who's been playing in the in Miami, that he's like still like on this level. You know what I mean? Like still a top 5 pick.
Yeah, he's awesome. Just so much of their offense flows through him. Yeah. I mean, there's a chance maybe he's been hidden in the MLS and he's going to decline on the world stage, but I think he still looks pretty solid based on like highlights I've seen.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's funny.
All right, so we will see what goes down here. So far, a rainbow flop as far as the teams here. Messi does fall to 6, and Jay Fresh grabs 2 Argentina guys there with Alvarez. We'll see what Mr. John Boy Beats does
if
here.
If JBB knows what's good for him, he's going to grab Neymar right here and just lock it up.
Rafinha.
Come on.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have attacked our opponent right before the draft started.
Yeah, I don't know if that was GTO.
Let's see here. He's such a bitch.
What a terrorist. Kidding me?
I do.
He made you watch the clock too. Just rude.
Don't worry. I'm not done with him. Who should we take here, though, Alex?
Yeah, midfield thins out. Like I like Bruno Fernandes, really solid. And if you play the game like top and bottom of the bracket thing, Portugal and France, if they both win their groups, they'll be on opposite sides of the bracket. So
fun.
Sets us up for like a Portugal France type team.
Nice.
If we go Portugal, is it how overdrafted? And I guess we are. How overdrafted is Ronaldo in your opinion, or not?
Shockingly, not really.
Okay, cool.
He's been slipping some. I think his ADP is around 17. Like I've seen him drop into like the low 20s as well in some drafts. I certainly wouldn't reach for him, but like
because he doesn't even like start, right? For whatever it's worth. Or does he now? Because I thought last cup he didn't.
He did. I'm pretty positive. I think the expectation is for him to start.
Okay.
Still. Yeah. But he's been playing in Saudi and kind of just off the map, at least from my viewing. So not sure where his form's at. But I mean, he takes a lot of shots. He's going to have penalty kicks. Like, yeah, I mean, if he's there at 16, that's probably the play.
Okay.
There's no scoring for PKs, right?
Well, you just get a goal.
Well, yeah, in regulation, but you don't get a goal if it's like goes to PKs, right?
I know DraftKings you do. I don't believe it's in the scoring for Underdog.
Okay.
There's no fine print either, and Hood Fave just playing the hits over here.
These guys will not let us build out a team stack. But that's why we got our guide here. What's the move, Alex, with Ronaldo gone?
Man, I think I'd just scoop up the value with KDB. I think he's still, I mean, he's up there in age, but like he's still pretty much everything for this Belgium team. If they're going to have success, it's going to come through him. So I still like him as a play for this World Cup, although he's not playing like as many minutes as he has in the past for his club teams after getting like kind of sent out of City.
On the teams you've drafted, what's the most amount of different teams you've had on a roster?
There's been some where I've had like 4 or 5 just kind of all over the place, and it like maybe focuses on like one team as the primary stack, just because how the drafts go. Like, yeah, they go off the rails pretty fast depending on the room.
I don't think we really touched on like the actual roster. So you're starting 2 forwards, 1 mid, 1 goalie, 1 flex, 1 defender, and then 6 on the bench there.
Yeah.
2 forwards make sense for the red at the top now. I thought it was 1-1-1-1 flex.
Yeah, there's a lot of forwards in the player pool. Yeah, we would have had problems if they made it 2 mids and 1 forward based on how they designated people, but I think they got it right in terms of the mix based on how the player pool's set up.
So I don't see any of our teams at the top of the queue here until we get down to Maxime from Belgium. What should we do here?
Oh, man. Let's take the De Kuipers from Belgium. He's a defender.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, D. Okay.
You got it.
Did I get him?
Oh, man.
You got it.
Look at that. That's impressive. That's the pro right there.
This is scary.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard enough with the NBA in baseball, but this one, okay.
Yeah, we need to figure out our goalie situation. So can you click on the goalies?
Yeah.
And see what we like. Do we have Portugal? We might want to just stick like the Portugal and the Belgium goalie in our queue just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stake our claim here.
Yeah. Hood Fave is already, despite taking Ronaldo, this guy's such a name brand slappy. He just didn't make any sense for his team. He just drafted the one name he recognizes. Oh, he's got a Netflix show. I guess we got to take him.
What have your builds been like, Alex? Oh, let's decide here.
You think
let's
Costa?
Yeah, let's take Costa. Yeah.
Okay.
What are your builds like? Do you need multiple keepers? Do you need 5 forwards? What have they been structurally?
Yeah, so I think 3 goalies is obviously too much, but most of my teams probably have 2, and I've been playing some 1s lately too. Okay. If I have like a primary stack, the issue with like the goalies on the big teams is like they don't really have save upside, so they can't put up like enormous games, and the draft is moving way too fast. Let's see, can we get
Let's see.
Who do we want? Yeah, we can take Nuno Mendes from Portugal. He's right there.
Okay. Because at this point, like where we already have Belgium, Portugal, and France, it sounds like we're probably not adding a 4th team at this point. We're just trying to build around these 3.
Probably not, unless we get to a good spot where we're fine with where our like structure is, and then we could take like a 1-off in like the last round.
Yeah, there's these 2 Canadian guys who play on some pretty prominent teams over the pond there.
You could draft the Canadians on your own site credits, John.
Maybe when they get MLS BRs rolling, we can play some Canadians.
Oh, I mean, I know just enough about soccer to know how savage of a bird that was.
We used to have this Canadian guy who was on the national team and played on the Whitecaps. His name was Russell Tybert. And it was like a running joke. Our seats were in row T and we called it Tybert Town. And that was like our guy. So for Christmas one year, I got signed Tybert pictures for all the boys that we shared tickets with. They were $12 each to get the signed photos.
That's great.
Really
all right,
putting a strain on the wallet.
On the clock here, a couple Netherlands, Germany. There's a Leandro is here from Belgium.
I'm not sure he starts. Let's is Doku Doku still?
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah, he's right there, Pete.
Let's cue him up.
And then there's Enzo Fernandez from Argentina.
Yeah, Enzo solid. Vitinha is decent for Portugal.
Is all the France stuff gone?
Well, I was just looking at that. There's this, God help me with this name.
I like Chouameni more for like France, like deeper stacks. Like he's just not going to produce a lot of fantasy points. So like at this point, our France piece is almost just like an advance rate type thing to our Portugal Belgium team. I kind of view it as.
We're looking at the Case and Wallaces now.
Alex, I was going to ask, are you really going to manually draft 150 $1 teams? Or are you going to set up some kind of ranking auto draft process?
I mean, I don't know. I 300 sounded better than 150 for the Canada burn, so I went with that. You can also do slow drafts, so I might just register for slows.
I actually didn't realize that. That makes it a lot more palatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Trossard here from Belgium. Lucas from France.
Let's grab Vitinha for Portugal right there.
Gotcha. Single name. Love it.
Yeah, that's the alpha we want.
All right. So where are we at with our team, our player count on each team?
I've been avoiding servicing the audio listeners for pretty obvious reasons. At forward, Michael Elise from France, Jeremy Doku, Belgium, our mids, Fernandez, Portugal, KDB. I heard that nickname recently and I'm rolling with it, from Belgium. Vitinha, nice single name there, from Portugal, not Brazil. Maxime, Belgium at defense, Nuno, Portugal defense, and then Costa, our Portuguese goalie.
All right, let's check and see if the Belgium goalie is still in the pool.
Okay.
Courtois.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you would go 2 goalies, like if you don't have a goalie from like a top 3 or 4 powerhouse, basically, that you think's going to the finals. Is that kind of the play to spring?
Yeah, like generally I've been taking 2. It just helps with some of the goalie variants, because like in the second round, like 1 of 8 advance, like I don't know. I think goalie is a high variance position in fantasy, and having 2 kind of helps out with that. Like there can be goalies, if they put up 2 big games in that round, they're really going to help your advance rate stuff.
Okay. I meant to ask, do we have what's the group of death this year? Is that a thing still?
Not that I saw. Nothing really stood out.
Okay.
Just because there's so many of the bottom end teams in now. We could take Courtois now and just kind of put our stamp on Belgium-Portugal final where we have both goalies and plenty of field players. We might want to. Do we have a Portugal forward? I don't think we do.
We do not. We only have France and Belgium. We might need to.
Yeah, let's look at the Pedro Neto or Leao. That one's kind of up in the air in terms of who's going to be playing a lot. But we should probably take one of them at some point.
I'm following along with our tool for the projected points model here to see if it tells us anything.
Is there anything, I mean, we kind of stopped recapping some of the other teams after we got mad at them for taking our players, but is there anything else unusual you're noticing in these rooms or fairly straightforward?
Seems pretty straightforward. Guys are actually staying in their lane outside of taking our guys.
Interesting.
I sense that might be a common theme on your streams. I have seen one or two of them before.
We need to raise these entry fees to keep these guys honest. $10, they're willing to burn it for an on-stream bit.
It's just too cheap for the bit.
You like Neto or?
Yeah, let's go with Pedro Neto. I think that that puts us in a pretty good spot for in terms of just like the team level. We could probably take some more of like one-off guys the last couple rounds.
Are you thinking through the cross-positional dynamics there, Alex, where it's like, hey, we didn't have a Portugal forward yet, so like that makes more sense for us there, so we can fill a Portugal roster if they just advance?
Yeah, for sure. And that way it gives us outs like of a two-man for another team just because we're checking that forward box with Portugal. Okay. And Portugal is a stronger team than Belgium as well. So our Belgium is probably more secondary.
We're on the clock here.
Yeah, show off for the one-offs here. Show off a little bit.
Yeah, let's go Christian Pulisic.
Yeah,
USA. I'm surprised like USA guys aren't getting overdrafted in this contest. Like it's disrespectful for
everybody's
our country.
showing off. They're showing off in here, trying to be like they're ball knowers.
Exactly. They want to take the one name guys. We don't have any of those here.
Yeah. No crying in the casino. No Patriots in the lobby. Is what they say.
Is that what they
say? That's right. I love this.
What's our Portugal count?
Portugal count. We got one forward Neto, one mid Fernandez. We have one at each position.
We got two mids.
Two mids.
Yeah. So like here's a dynamic. Like we could take a 6 Portugal and like guarantee like we can like cover all the positions with just one team, or you could take like a one-off that. So like that's kind of where these drafts get difficult for me is like saying like, do I need help having this team advance through, or like should I prioritize like having more of this one team if I got through? So I mean it's just like all the other playoff best ball formats where you kind of just have to toe that line constantly.
We're stack slappies that build for the finals. Let's find a Portugal guy
go.
here.
Yeah, let's put in Portugal.
Yeah, any of these names speak to you?
You're not gonna read them for
like Bernardo Silva. Like this has got to be like his last World Cup. It's getting up there in age. Like let's tack him on, and we have a full Portugal stack.
Too easy. ETR tribute Silva. Are you kidding me? This makes it.
I guess it real quick though. Just
we need a forward though.
I was just gonna say forward, but now he's gone because
we have to do 2 forwards.
Oh yeah. You're right.
We need a red guy.
Yeah, is Leao?
He just went because JVB's a criminal.
Well, we're not gonna have a full stack then.
So we just need
we need like
France, Belgium,
or US.
USA.
Plenty of outs there.
Great. Yeah. Awesome stack partners there. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Spin zone. Portugal gets the final. We have the contrarian pivot off of everybody else building out the 6-mans. We went opposite positional, and then that player then gets inserted into said lineup to differentiate ourselves.
Hey, Alex, this guy out of the 5 hole here, and I've never seen his username, on a scale of idiot to big fucking idiot, how big of an idiot is he taking a one-off layout at the very end with his final selection, his only Portugal piece?
I mean, on a scale of USA to Canada, that smells a lot like maple syrup.
This guy, dude. Wow. All right. So that's how it's going to go. I make fun of your March Madness threads and you try to blow up our team. You know what? All is fair in love and war. Other than those kind of snipes here, Alex, what do you think about our team here? How did we do?
It's pretty solid. I think it has paths. You can tell a story, and that's kind of all you really want here, right?
That's right. The World Pup there. We
got your first 149 to go, Pete. You can do it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think what kind of odds you would need to get on me maxing this. Probably pretty good ones. But I did have fun drafting, and I will say, obviously, some of the stuff you're talking about with the deep roster things and a lot still changing over the next 2 months, but it does feel like a contest you can draft without too much ball knowledge and not get in that much trouble.
For sure. Yeah. Just the way they have it structured, I think it works out nicely. They didn't go too aggressive. They could have done something like 10-man rosters where you draft 20, and that's just too much for what this is. I think they set it up pretty perfect. So they go pretty fast too.
They did. That was pretty fast. Well, thank you for joining, and I think we'll probably bring you back on in a month or so when we get a little bit closer. We can see what's changed and how the ADP's shaking out. But if there's anything else people should check out, I mean, you mentioned some resources which we appreciate, and it sounds like you'll be covering World Cup soccer from the DFS angle and stuff, or is that not actually going to be on ETR? That's just you playing yourself.
Nothing on ETR. Yeah. Just myself grinding in the streets. So.
I think you should become like an honorary thread bro for the summer and get some daily strategy threads out there. Boost that X clout.
Man, I tried like 1 or 2 long posts for like college football previews. I'm like, this is exhausting. Like, my work is done in Excel and Sheets. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know if you change your mind, people are looking forward to it. Chris wanting to know if you have your own channel. So this is your last chance to promote something here and promise more soccer content, Alex.
I can't promise you soccer content. I can promise you college football contest. If you're into college football, player props, fantasy, DFS, all that stuff, we have it fully covered at ETR in the fall. So yeah.
All right. Well, then
some fun for World Cup.
I know how to do spin something, and Often on the Clock is the official home of FearMyTurtle's World Cup soccer touting in DFS takes. Your one-stop shop. The only place you can find them is here on these airwaves.
Yeah, until I go on Davis's show.
No, man, we just inked you to an exclusive deal.
You're with us now.
I mean, do you want to come here and be asked questions and get to talk, or do you want to be asked questions that Davis will then answer before you can?
I mean, I know how Davis works, so like, I don't know. There's pros and cons to both.
Well, we appreciate you, Alex. Follow him on Twitter as well. FearMyTurtle. I'll drop the link, and maybe we can goad him into some tweets as we get closer. But it was great chopping it up with you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Happy drafting.
All right, man. We'll catch you later. There goes Alex, aka FearMyTurtle. And for the second half of the show, we are going to play. I believe this is our 3rd year doing this game, right, guys?
I believe so. Yeah.
Third year doing our NFL draft prediction game. And I'll say here, we've talked about it over the years where it's just like pretty binary. You get 1 point for getting one right, 0 points not. Could you take a strategic approach and like pick the same team who's likely to take a running back for 5 different running backs to try to, sure, you could, but that's not really the spirit of this competition. I feel like the spirit of it is perfection, nailing every single pick.
I think we've proven that in the past, that is the spirit of the competition here.
So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull it up. How we did it last year, and it's funny because I have our scores, is we just sorted by rookie ADP on Underdog to kind of find the fantasy relevant players. You'll notice here, last year we went about 30 names deep. This year we're going to go like 20. It's that kind of draft class here, but I figure we can go and maybe we'll basically alternate who picks first. So like if I go first for Jeremiah Love, then John Nez, then the next time John will go first and we'll just kind of round robin it. So we each get cracks at, feeling out what the opponents are doing. Are there any other rules I'm missing here?
We were allowed to dupe each other, like, because obviously we're not like, no one's like playing like the $1 Price is Right angle here. It's just happenstance. So, okay.
No, I think, I think we want our actual takes on where we think these guys will go. And if, if I don't even have Fernando Mendoza on here because it's, that one's a lock. But yeah, we would all pick the Raiders for that one. Maybe John wouldn't. I should never make an assumption about John doing the conventional thing.
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. and you know what I was trying to do too is copy our conditional formatting from last year to this year. We did that all manual.
Yes. Yes. Honestly, it's part of the charm of some of these. We do the mock draft on Ship Chasing, and people get to watch me individually change each cell. Every year, there's someone who's like, you could have automated that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Let me run my website how I want to run my website, sir.
Your website.
So yeah, let's kick it off here. We can talk through some of the, the draft rumors and chatter as we go. Who wants to go first? And then we'll round robin.
Pete, why don't you go first just for simplicity's sake? Because then we can maintain the order and we won't get lost.
Yes. Okay. What I will do here is I am going, you know what I'm going to be able to do, Nez, speaking of formatting, I'm going to copy and paste from the cells from last year's for these teams. And this will, like, when I do this, look at this, buddy. Boom. Titans for Jeremiah Love. I'm taking the chalk. I think the Cardinals stuff is bullshit. I think the Titans thing has been so resounding, even though I think it's a mistake for them and they should probably take any other position. I do think they do it. I think they want to be in win now mode with Dayball, and they bring Wan'Dale Robinson in, and they don't want Cam Ward to be a bust. So give them every weapon as possible. They're going to take Jeremiah Love at 4, and it'll probably work out just like it did for the Giants and every other team who's taken a running back in the top 5. But that's my pick. John, you got a contrarian angle?
Yeah, I got a contrarian angle here. I don't think Salah's going to fall for it. I think he's going to be sharp enough to steer them in a different direction and go the defensive route there. I know it's the chalk. I know everybody thinks it's there. I think he slips a little bit, and I think the Commanders need some offensive help at 7, and I'm going Commanders at 7 for Jeremiah Love.
That's the one I'm rooting for. I want that to happen for fantasy. I think of all the spots in the top 10, I think him going alongside Jaden Daniels is like dream scenario for fantasy.
Yeah.
Nez,
agreed.
Do you double down with one of these picks?
I'm Commanders too, man. Yeah, that's
okay.
I was gonna do Cardinals because I'm like, man, that's been the buzz right now. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not stupid. So I'm not gonna put Cardinals there, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Do you guys think Cardinals trade out of that spot? Like, who the hell would want to come up? Like, it doesn't feel like the kind of class to come up unless you want edge, right?
Yeah, and it just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like there's no trade up market that like you might get.
Everyone knows what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the Cardinals thing yesterday was so funny because they basically they were like, oh, we're going to be really sneaky and we're shopping around the pick. And then I was like, okay. And then they like blurted out the reality of it. And they're like, yeah, and we're going to take Jeremiah Love if you don't take the pick. I was like, okay, way to tip your hand there, Cardinals.
Worst flop of all time.
Yeah. Okay. We now have Carnell Tate. with ADP. And this one's interesting because I feel like there's been a lot of buzz about Jordan Tyson now maybe flipping him.
Mhm.
And, the normal like mocking him to Cleveland has been kind of the chalk thing that people have done. But if he gets flipped, I'm actually going to actually go Commander.
It's not your
Oh,
turn.
you're right. Shit.
It's not your turn, dog.
John, it's your turn.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
I'm going to do this every time too.
No, same mindset as you, Pete. I don't think it's the chalk anymore. I actually took one of those long shot bets about a week ago there that he would not be first wide receiver off the board. So, I think he's fallen a little bit out of favor with the bro science community here. And I actually got him going 16 to the Jets. I think he's sliding down the board, and I think a couple wide receivers jump him.
That would be quite the fall. In the John mock draft does Lemon go ahead of him in this scenario, or does Lemon fall too?
Lemon falls as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Dude, I got to get this B. This is going to be hilarious, by the way.
John's got a bee in his house. Jeez, this is what we're dealing with. When next time you stare at a Canadian in the World Cup draft lobby, just know that this is what they're like.
Yeah.
Des, your pick.
Yeah, I'm going chalk here. I'm going Browns. I just think the from here narrative, like they would love nothing more than to draft an Ohio State kid here, and it fits one of their needs. So yeah, I think they go Tate.
Nez, I'm going to make an executive conditional formatting decision this year. I think it's just too similar. Browns Commanders. I say we go brown with the white text there.
Yeah, that's much better. Even though that's not their color, but it's much better. The Browns aren't even brown.
But it looks so good.
It does look good.
What I'm going to do with the Tate thing is I do like kind of assuming that a team comes up here and takes like a Jordan Tyson. Maybe it is the Browns, maybe the Giants, whatever. I think the Commanders really want a wide receiver. And in this scenario where Jeremiah Love is off the board, say I'm right with the Titans thing, I could see them pulling the trigger on Carnell Tate here. I think it could also be Tyson as well. But I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble and go Commanders here for Carnell Tate. And now Nez has the first selection for Lemon.
I do. I think / hope this is a little contrarian here. And that maybe this is way too off the board. But for Mekhi Lemon, I think they're going to go. I think he's going to go Chiefs. I've got Chiefs for him. I think they're certainly in need of some more weapons for Mahomes here. Lemon is really, really exciting, and it just kind of fits the way that they've been playing these days in terms of the routes that they run and whatnot. So, give me Mekhi here for Kansas City.
Yes. I like that one as well. That's kind of like my hope for this draft in that. That's the World Cup. There's so many of these teams up here that need wide receiver. Like this stretch of Giants, Browns, Commanders, Saints, Chiefs, Dolphins, like any of these teams could easily justify pulling the trigger on one of these top three guys. So that's going to be fun to see how that plays out. I think it's now back to me with Lemon. One of the most popular mock spots for him, and I remember being like surprised the first time I saw it, but I do think it kind of starts to make sense with the Rams continuing to want to push in, all in, maximize the Stafford window. Maybe Puka Nacua keeps biting people. Maybe Devontae Adams stops scoring touchdowns. Enter Mekhi Lemon to be another weapon there for Stafford.
Dude, and there might not be anybody else in this class who kind of like fits that like underneath slot movement gadget stuff that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua have done like better than him too, like archetype wise. So it's like if Puka's actually got like this rehab stuff and whatever, and they want to push this window, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
I also agree with what you were saying there, Pete, with that like bracket. And there's a lot of people like pushing the skill position players up in that bracket. But then like the kind of like more football head non-fantasy community is kind of like hoping they all pass and they put other needs ahead of it. So it's very polarizing because like our community is very much like, oh, this is a decent wide receiver class, but it's not amazing anywhere else. And like, hey, we could take a couple of these ones. And then my mock, I pushed most of it down, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say of all the places in fantasy, that is hard for me to remove my fantasy bias. It's doing NFL draft stuff. Like, I think I'm always hot on it. And sometimes we're very justified. Like, I remember just thinking it was absolutely insane that the Patriots passed on JSN when he came in. It was like, how is JSN not going top 15? Like, this is absurd. But the league does find ways to still undervalue these guys sometimes. But don't you think the tides are turning a little bit? The priority on receivers and how valuable it is for these guys to land an elite talent who's going to fetch $30 million a year on their second contract. I do wonder if that offsets it. The question is do they feel that way about these top 3 wide receivers? Like, do they actually have the pedigree, or are they already pushed up from where they should be?
Yeah. And you're also seeing that 5th year of control matters a lot for the contract stuff. As you noted, like, wide receiver contracts going so much higher, like they're kind of getting the quarterback treatment by like pushing into the first round to make sure you get that 5th year control at that price point.
All right, John, where do you have Lemon going?
Yeah, so I had him a little bit of a slide job. I have Tate over him and Tyson over him, and I have him Panthers at 19.
Okay.
Yeah, second fiddle to that Tet stuff. I think it complements Tet well because Tet's like, contested, kind of like bigger body downfield stuff. And this would kind of be like what they've lacked since DJ Moore has left is like that kind of, what Adam Thielen did his best job to do in one isolated half season there, that this now becomes Lemon's role kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the Panthers are definitely one of those teams that should continue to take stabs at skill position players. I know like the Fantasy Life guys have routinely mocked Sadiq to them as well. Yeah. I kind of would like them to still see. Unleash Jatavian Sanders is what I want to see, but I guess I could see it.
That's what Nez's best ball bags from last year want to see.
I still believe.
Yeah, To be fair, tight end is probably a slightly better mock than me putting Lemon here, even though the overlap in like kind of how they would win would be similar. Because like if they think Leggett and Coker are enough, like you probably don't need to take another wide receiver in the first round here, especially the way Coker emerged at the tail end of last year. But I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna am I on the clock here for Tyson? I think I'm going to try to get cheeky here, and I think I can kind of get 2 for the price of 1. I'm going to go with the Giants with Jordan Tyson. They have that 5th pick, which, maybe people consider slightly frothy for taking Tyson there. They have the 10th pick, which people don't necessarily think he'd fall there because like the Saints have been rumored into him. Maybe the Chiefs would. So it is kind of a little dicey, but I like the idea of having 2 cracks. Like, if Tate goes and if these wide receivers do get pushed down a little bit, like John's saying, I do think the Giants should continue to add weaponry for Dart and just with the neighbors kind of coming off of injury. So I'm going to give myself 2 cracks there with the Giants and Tyson.
Yeah, I like that play, man. I like that a lot, just from a game theory angle and from like a roster fit. It's not even one that I fully considered, was the fact that they had 2 in the top 10 to do that with. So good, sharp move by you. I went chalk here because this chalk was kind of what set everything up for me wide receiver wise. So I went Saints at 8 here.
Yep. Are you on the group chat with Nick Underhill and Silva?
I wish, man. I wish I got that. Did you listen to him say a renowned Saints source, and he didn't say his name like 3 times, and then he says Underhill in like a debate forum. He's like Underhill, and then he goes back to saying Saints only, guys. It was really funny if you just caught like the little Freudian slip in the middle.
I would pay a lot to see some of the unreleased exchanges between those two, and like Underhill trying to give him like a little tidbit, but also giving him a million caveats and being like, don't say this. This isn't confirmed. This is whatever. And then Silva just pops right on the podcast and spouts it off.
Please don't attach my name to this. And like after 3 iterations of repeating it, he says his name.
Yeah.
So good.
We all know where you get your Saints sources from. There's no one to protect at this point. All right, Nez.
All right, this one I'm shooting the moon here, but could you imagine if this takes place here? I'm hearing this team was wowed by some recent viral videos here, and I'm going Tennessee here. Brian Daboll wants to load up Cam Ward with just the most talented players that he can. He brought in Wandale already, for some nice like easy targets, but then you got to bring in Tyson for the home run shots. Like, let's just give Cam Ward all the weapons in the world, give him the Caleb treatment, and see what happens.
I love the theme to our draft so far. I feel like I'm really trying to win this contest. I feel like John's trying to overly prove that he could like be in the DraftNet community with his like mock draft research, and Nez is doing like fantasy wish lists. Like this is what we need to happen.
Always.
This is why the show works so great, guys. This is perfect. I love this.
Okay. Is it?
It's me.
John is on.
Yeah. So fitting that it's me here because so many people talk about Seattle and Price as that happy marriage at the tail end of the first round. I think Seattle's going to do everything in their power to trade back. Whether there's a market for it or not, it'll probably depend if Ty Simpson is still on the board. I think they actually do get out of there, or they don't take running back there, even though we all kind of want it. I have another landing spot for Seattle later in here. I actually have him falling a bit here to the Vikings at 49 as just kind of like hey, let's find our next guy here. And I have him as second running back off the board to the Vikings at 49.
Yeah. For fantasy, it would be very fun if the Seahawks took him. It just like this team, they were willing to let Kenneth Walker walk. Like they're willing to play the running back position ruthlessly. Are they really going to spend number 32 on what would probably be like the worst running back prospect to go in round one in a long, long time? I mean, Jonathan Taylor couldn't even crack round one. Like, what would we be doing here?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me on it, but it's like the amount of times that Seattle's traded back with the Schneider regime, it's just like every second year for a decade. Like that's just their MO to trade back, accumulate 2 picks, and then take a later shot on 2 fill-in guys opposed to 1.
Yep.
They're gonna go find their Chris Carson in round 5,
Yep. All right, Nez, you are on the clock for Jatarian Price.
Yeah, I think this is where the Giants make their running back splash. I really think that the love talk is all smoke and mirrors. I mean, I hope for Gumby's sake that it is, but I do think that they are serious about trying to find another running back to pair with Scadaboo for the future. So I think this is where Price comes into play.
All right, I like that. Mine is like, I like the team fit. I don't know how it's actually going to happen as far as picks. I think they would need to trade down and accumulate like a mid-second. I'm going to do Cowboys. It's just kind of like the most Cowboys thing ever, where for like multiple years we're like draft a running back. They don't really do it. They bring back Javonte. I think they know in their heart of hearts though that they need to get more explosive at the running back position. This feels like Jerry, kind of finding a way to make a splash. He just paid his kicker, Brandon Aubrey. He's ready for his next big move, Jadarian Price, somehow, and in round 2.
Cool. That's a good one. I mean, the blue stuff failed last year, and outside of that on their roster, like we've tried to make Philip Maffa a thing, Malik Davis a thing, Izzy Abanikanda. Like it is kind of dumpster fire territory. So if they get him at the top of round 2, it makes a lot of sense.
All right. I believe Nez has the honors on KC Concepcion here.
Yes, I do. And I think this is where the Raiders get a weapon for Mendoza here. Grab him in the second round, pick 36. Just makes a lot of sense. I think if it's not KC, it's definitely a receiver for sure, because I mean their roster is depleted of receiving help right now.
Yeah, the Bash and Dante Thornton picks did not seem to work out. Is it me here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Concepcion. So From everything that I read, it does seem it's kind of interesting because he seemed like he's like the clear number 4 after Cooper. In Matthew Friedman's most recent mock, he didn't have Concepcion in round 1. He even had Boston over him, which certainly surprised me because I thought he was a little bit more of a lock for that kind of draft capital. I think what I'm going to do here is kind of try to pull out my Tyson move with the Giants and take another 2 cracks at it. I'm going to go Dolphins, who I do think they have a ton of picks. They're going to walk away with a wide receiver in rounds 1 or 2. I feel pretty confident about that. How aggressive they want to be. Probably not with that first pick, but if Casey Concepcion falls, kind of Nez is projecting with the Raiders, I could see the Dolphins scooping him up at the back end of round 1.
Yep. Well said there, Pete. I had a similar line of thinking, but I did it with a different wide receiver. I think one of the hottest topics right now is whether there's 6 wide receivers drafted in the first round. There's a big market for that 5.5, and it's been screaming up. And the reason it's been screaming up is KC Concepcion. His odds to go in the first round have really pivoted up. So I kind of took the similar mindset as you with 2 picks in the first round, need a wide receiver team, and did Browns pass on it initially, and then Browns get him here at 24.
I like that. Another team that, man, they need help in so many places, and just continuing to stack talent at the wide receiver position would be a very good place to start.
Yeah.
All right. Dolphins, Browns, Raiders there for KC Concepcion. And I believe Nez is on the clock here for Omar Cooper Jr.
It's your turn now, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was Tyson. Oh, you're right.
No,
so
you're
back
6.
around to me.
Yep.
Okay. So there is a chalk spot for him in mocks. And this kind of comes back to John's kind of thing of are the aggressively, drafting wide receiver minds going to win out here, or is he going to fall a bit? I'll play the chalk answer though, and I will go with the Jets, which does seem a little rich to me for him, and what our fantasy bros say about him as a prospect. But I also think the Jets, if those top 3 are off the board, I think they want to get Geno some more weapons. They know Geno's limited. The only way you have a chance for this offense to work is for him to have a lot of talent around him. I think they could take a stab on Omar Cooper Jr. here.
Cool. Yeah, similar line of thinking as you with the Fins up, but this was the wide receiver in which I chose for them. So I think Omar Cooper actually slips a little bit behind KC and some of these other guys. And, he gets the product of circumstance treatment with the touchdowns and that sort of deal. And he goes to the Fins here with that back end 30 or I put him at 30, but I could see front of round 2 as well.
John, are you entering some of these mock draft competitions this year? Are you trying to get that added to the bio?
I'm trying to go mock draft champion here and ride off into the sunset. I'm going toe to toe with Norris this year, baby.
John's out here trying. This is a new Warner, man. I don't know if people are paying attention.
How much would you pay to read a beast style draft guide from John, but just with how John types on the internet and in Discord?
I would read it. I would read it in a heartbeat.
All lowercase font, no periods, couple semicolons and dashes mixed in.
Yeah, little Omar Cooper for the boys here. All right, Nez, you're doubling up here. Badge Bros got to stay together.
Yeah, I had Fins for Cooper too. Oh, I mean, they need so much help. It's insane. But yeah, I think Cooper probably lines up for them pretty well.
All right, this is now to John. We are our first tight end on the board is expected to go round 1. Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah, so a lot of people picking Ravens for this, and Ravens kind of emerging a little chalky. I know it's new regime. I know it's new coach. I don't think Ravens go tight end round 1. I think this is the Bucs music. I think he stays in that same little pocket and he goes 15. you get Mike Evans out of there, but you also so you get you vacated targets kind of narrative, but they have all the wide receiver stuff established. Let's take a little bit of a project for that next kind of turnover cycle of this roster. I think I got Sadiq going to the Bucs here at 15.
I'm checking our sheet last year because I've just been copying and pasting. Nez, did we not have a single player going to the Bucs in our draft last year?
That's interesting.
I don't think so.
Isn't that crazy?
Because Buka was a huge shock because they had Tet or not Tet, but Jalen.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. While I work on this this conditional format here for the Bucs,
I'm going chalk and I just pasted over the wrong cell. I'm going Dolphins or Panthers. LOL. I'm going Panthers here. They could use an extra weapon for Bryce. I think their wide receiver room looks decent, at least for the moment. And in terms of who I think they'd take at their first round pick, I do think it's Sadiq.
Okay. Cool. So I think you guys, I was debating between these two for mine. I would say Panthers have been the most popular mock. I've been rooting for the Bucs. I also saw Anthony Amico, who's always very good at the mock draft stuff. He has the Bucs for Sadiq. I think that makes the most sense too. They both make sense to me, but they just lose Mike Evans. And they know Baker even struggled last year with a pretty good complement of weapons. I think they look at it and say, if we're going to continue this with Baker, he needs another dynamic weapon. Godwin's getting older. Igbuka, I think the jury's still a little out on who he is. So Sadiq to the Bucs. I'll side there with John. Who did you have, Nez? Did we have double Panthers or you want Dolphins there?
I thought I refreshed it already, but yeah, that is Dolphins for Sadiq, and Cooper should be Dolphins.
Is that
Sadiq
right?
Sadiq is Panthers. God Almighty, yes, okay. That is correct. My sheet is way behind for some reason.
If you're just tuning in now, we're doing our NFL our skill position predictions. We're going through Underdog ADP from best to worst here. Kenyon Sadiq, current ADP 137.4. We now have a couple running backs on tap here. Jonah Coleman is our next one here, and I believe Nez is kicking us off with Jonah Coleman.
Yeah, this is where I think we get a Seahawk running back selection, which is pretty chalk in terms of position of need and who's going to get drafted there or what position they're going to take. So I think this is Jonah Coleman's music. I don't think that Love or Price will make it to him.
A little bit of a UW connection there too.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Homegrown kid.
Yeah. You know what? My contrarian mind always wants to not double up. I want to be the one with the idea, but I think Seahawks makes a ton of sense. I think two things are true. They're not going to take a running back in round 1. I think they are going to take a running back in round 2 or 3. Sorry, Emmanuel Wilson stands, of which there are many. Someone in my Best Ball Breakfast chat yesterday literally uttered the words, Emmanuel Wilson is the stone cold nuts. And I was like, I cannot imagine typing that sentence, 1, in any context, 2, before the NFL draft. But yes, there are people out there who love Emmanuel Wilson.
God help us.
To reset an Emmanuel Wilson one, we were loving Emmanuel Wilson when he was ripping off those runs in Brazil on that Friday night when we were watching that ball game with the ship chasing meetup, because he looked like he had the juice that night and he hit his over for us on 1 carry, and Jacobs couldn't get anything done for the first 10 carries, and we were all going full slappy. Emmanuel Wilson's our guy.
Here he is. I smoked him out. LOL.
70%
Emmanuel Wilson. You're sick, man.
That.
Good luck sweating those bullets on day 2. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Jonah Coleman in my life just because of the UW stuff. I don't think he's particularly athletic or overly fun. I think he's kind of bad Ray Ricey, where he's small bowling ball but can catch a little bit. I have him falling a decent amount to 105 to the Giants, and Giants address running back not the fun way that everybody wants them to, but with, hey, we have depth on the roster and Scatterboys is all right. let's take a crack at, a guy further down the board. So I have him at 105.
Yeah. I like that. It is, man. It is so like on paper to me, and I know Scadabo's coming back from injury, but it's just like, man, like Scadabo and Tracy, that's a perfectly serviceable backfield. Like I don't feel like that's a backfield where you have to spend, a top 3, even 4 round pick on a running back. And yet every indication is that's exactly what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they're scared of Scadabo's play style.
They might also still be butthurt about the Barkley stuff,
Yeah. But it's like the only way to rectify the Barkley stuff is by taking Love. Like there's no other, like you can't get redemption on Barkley with Jonah fucking Coleman.
No, absolutely not.
All right. Is it me with Mike Washington here?
Yes, sir.
I do think like this could be, to John's point, another logical spot for the Seahawks. Like, hey, let's just bring in the super fast dude here, see if he can figure it out, give us a little juice. I also, though, I'm going to go a slightly different direction because I'm not going to, spray and pray Seahawks on all of these guys. I'm going to do Dolphins. And with the thought, like, I mean, I know Mike McDaniel's not there, but they've historically liked these super fast dudes. I think it gives them a little Achane insurance. Like they've talked about, like, no, we're not going to trade him. We're not going to trade him. It's like, you're blowing things up. Maybe this kind of opens the pathway of like, hey, we're building out some young depth here. Maybe we can move on. And they usher in, a fun youth era here with Mike Washington Jr. Yeah,
fun landing spot. That'd be quite the fast backfield to go, Achane, Washington, and even Jalen Wright. Like those 3, that's got some giddy up in it. This is where I went Seahawks. I think they would take kind of like the fun ceiling shot at a discount. And I got them Seahawks at 64.
Nice.
That'd
be pretty good draft capital for Mike Washington too.
That would be crazy. Yeah, that would fire him up. He's been a big riser over, pre-draft best ball. So he opened at like 180, I think, or something. Now he's up to obviously like 140.
Yeah, the testing stuff really helped, right? Like he was like a speed guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go Titans here. I think this is another offensive spot for them. Running back is like for sure a position of need, right? With them, they're already being talked about drafting Jeremiah Love, which I hope they don't do. But Mike Washington here, I think, would be like an awesome landing spot for him with not a lot of competition. So yeah, I'm kind of going with the theme of wish listing here.
Nice. All right. It is it John for Denzel Boston?
Yeah. So Boston, I think, is like really pivotal in terms of like whether you think you get 6 wide receivers in the first round or if you get a back end of or top end of second round wide receiver there. In this iteration, I think Buffalo would be a really good landing spot in the first round, but I went Raiders in the second round at 36. Okay. So Raiders, same thesis as Nez on the KC Concepcion with the same spot, but just different player.
Yep. Yeah, the swing on Denzel Boston, I feel like, could be big because he's probably the fringe dude of like, if all the wide receivers are getting pushed back and like, Lemon's falling, Cooper's falling, then like Boston's almost a lock for round 2. Yeah. But if they're getting pushed up and Lemon goes to the Rams and the Omar Cooper to the Jets thing happens, then Boston's probably in that scenario more of a lock for back end of round 1. What do you think, Nez?
I have Boston. Oh, good, John.
No, I was just going to say, like, another UW guy, 4-year UW guy that, like, did nothing for the first 2. Like, it's pedigree, it's his father, it's his whatever. And then, like, his numbers are in, like, a system that wasn't as good as the previous regime. But, like, he was a focal point of said system the last 2 years and, like, did play, like, decently in my estimation. I wouldn't hold it against him that as a freshman he couldn't get on the field when there was like 3 first-round picks in front of him who are now all in the league. That being said, I don't think he's like fucking amazing or anything, but I think he warrants this pick.
Yeah, he'll definitely. There's a lot of wide receiver needy teams out here right now. I got him going to the Falcons just because I haven't used them yet, and man, wide receiver 2 right now is Jahan Dotson. I mean, I think Boston would make a lot of sense as an outside receiver for them.
Good one.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about the Falcons.
That'd be a lot of fun with Stefanski, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Darnell Mooney gone. They need somebody there along London and Pitts. I like that. I am going to do I guess it's semi-chalky. I am playing the Hopium scenario where a lot of these wide receivers go in round 1. I'll do Boston to the Bills. I know there's the yucks of are they really just going to draft Keon Coleman again? And it was well, are the Panthers really going to draft Jonathan Mingo again? Yeah, they did. And I also think the Bills GM, what is it, Brandon Beane? I mean, he took so much shit first for just building a roster that had no talent for Josh Allen. I think he's still scarred from that criticism. I think he's very scarred about what happened in the divisional round against the Broncos. Yes, they go out and get DJ Moore. I think that's a start. I don't even think that's still getting you to the caliber of wide receiver room that you want around Josh Allen. And so I think he throws another dart at it. Let's get another big-bodied guy. We got DJ Moore and Shakir on the inside. Let's see if we can actually get Keon Coleman, but good. We'll try it with Denzel Boston here.
That'd be a lot of fun. I hope you're right about everything you assessed there, because it would make a lot of sense and it'd be a lot of fun for us.
Yep.
All right. Who is it?
It's me.
Is it Nez?
Yeah.
Emmett Johnson. We're now to another running back here.
Yeah, this isn't a fun spot because of who he would be behind, but I think the Packers try to take a swing at an RB2 here just because the Marshawn Lloyd era has been non-existent, and they just lost Emmanuel Wilson. So I think Emmett Johnson here for a backup to Jacobs makes sense. Emmett Johnson had a lot of hype before the combine, where he failed spectacularly. But since when do you need to be a physical freak to be a good running back, right? We see it all the time. So I think Emmett Johnson to the Packers. It's boring, but
yeah. The thing about Emmett Johnson, and Chad says it here in the chat, if Emmett Johnson doesn't go somewhere fun, my life is ruined. I realized he's one of my most drafted in pre-draft best ball as well. But it does feel to me, and you'll see with my selection here, like one of those spots where Emmett Johnson goes to a place where we just all groan.
Right.
I think teams might view him as a pass catching guy, where they try to complement their lead back, and he's not getting drafted in a range where they feel compelled to use him as a bell cow or a starter. So kind of in the same vein as the Packers, I'm going to do the Saints. And it's they like Travis Etienne, but in the same way the Jags felt the need to bring in, Tootin, to bring in LaQuint Allen on third downs. I think the Saints are this Kendre Miller stuff doesn't seem like it's going to work out. Who knows with Kamara? We got Etienne. Let's get Emmett Johnson back here to protect Shuck on third downs.
This is so unfun that we all went with the grown spot, depth third down guy, move with him, because we just ruined Steve Candles, aka Brad Candles' life in the chat here with I went Cardinals at 104, which is just
wow.
Algier, James Conner, Trey Benson, just lump the cat in with them and see if he gets an opportunity in a year and a half.
They're we're going to trade 103. And if we don't, we're going to take Jeremiah Love. And if we don't, we're certainly taking Emmett Johnson in round 3.
Right. Yeah.
Christ.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would be a big buzzkill. But, man, I mean, it's always fun to see how it matches up. There are some really good landing spots for running backs. The Vikings is a really good one. And it's just how clean do these land where our favorite prospects go? Because it's always going to be I don't know, it'll be fucking Damon Claiborne goes to the Vikings in round 6. And we're well, it's a good fit. And yet it was a 6th round pick. So does it actually matter? Who's it back to now? Is it me?
Yes. You started with Packers there, Nez. Yeah.
Okay. Eli Stowers here. We got our second tight end after Sadiq. He's not expected to go round 1. I think we're looking at a round 2 thing here. I don't know if I feel strongly about this one. It does get tricky in round 2. I'm going to say the Eagles. Obviously AJ Brown good is gone. They bring back Goddard, but I think they still will just kind of think of who they're drafting as pure weaponry. And And they're not a team, I think, that would shy away from like, we're going to force a wide receiver if we really like this tight end, and they can do their 2 tight end sets stuff. So I think Stowers just get Jalen Hurts another weapon. They've been clearly spending all offseason trying to stack weapons. I do think they add a pass catcher in round 1 or 2, probably a wide receiver, but we'll throw a dart on Stowers here to the Eagles.
Yeah, I like that dart idea there. I think that was well articulated. I similarly had like two dart spots for him. I was really having a tough time placing Stowers because like he's a mismatched slot guy. Like he's a receiver. I thought KC at 74 to be like the next in line behind Travis Kelce a little bit. But I also kind of like the idea of Broncos. They're kind of like pretty close to like not having, what that piece is that was supposed to be the Joker that Evan Ingram was. And I think they could do that here with like a project at 62. So I like Broncos for Stowers.
Was that yours, Nez?
Yes.
I saw Nez's how upset he was when you
my
said
visual
Broncos
groan. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah, I have Broncos too. I think it just makes all the sense in the world for them to go tight end. I mean, when Evan Ingram's your tight end 1, that's just like, wow, how do we address this? Like that's got to be something that they're thinking about.
Yep. John, we are to Nicholas Singleton here running back, and then we're about to get into some of these like round 2 wide receivers and fringe guys as we enter the home stretch.
Yeah, super polarizing dude, right? Like just in terms of like he probably could have been RB 1 or 2 off the board if he had come out the year before, and then this year he kind of like plays behind Allen and he's hurt and he has the knee injury and all whatever. So I have him falling a little bit. I have him Texans at 141. I know they went out and got David Montgomery, but kind of feels like a decent little like compliment and like lower capital bet to be your like second guy and or to push David Montgomery a little bit. So I had Texans there.
I like that. I think they're definitely a team who could still be trying to add some help at running back there. Nez, what do you think for Singleton?
Yeah, I have the Cowboys here. Nice. I think they're definitely in play for a running back. Like they're very happy that they have Javonte Williams and how he did last season, and they just extended him here. But I think they're looking for the next guy for the long haul. So Singleton, I think, makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to do kind of what we've all been doing, which is not, once we kind of use a team, not doubling up on it. So in the spirit of the Emmett Johnson and not really getting a fun landing spot and kind of in line with what John did with the Texans, I'm going to do the Colts. Would not be fun, but the thesis is more just like, has there been like less buzz on a running back than DJ Giddens? I feel like he's the depth chart king that I never hear anything about other than that he's the RB2 technically on the depth chart. I never hear that he's wowing in practice, that he's going to hit, his stride in year 2. I just feel like the Colts actually are in love with DJ Giddens. Maybe they take another stab on Singleton and just be like, hey, our roster is trying to push all in. If something happens to JT, we have to be able to still rely on the run game a little bit. So Singleton,
I like that because like I don't think they have anybody else on the roster. And at the tail end of last year, I remember them pulling in like the former Savon Ahmed or whatever. Like they had him last year, and like they were grasping at straws. So Colts wasn't someone I had thought about for running back just because of Taylor or whatever. But that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Who is it? Is it Nez for Brazel?
Yeah. Brazel, this is where I get my homer pick in. I think he's a Steeler.
Yeah.
They have Michael Pittman. They have DK Metcalf, but Brazel, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, seems like he's a field stretcher. A little bit of like a flashier guy, which has typically been their MO previously in terms of drafting wide receivers. So I think this is where they get back on the right track in drafting good wide receivers again. And they take Brazel, who falls because he's a Tennessee guy.
Yeah, that was I had 2 I was really close with. Steelers were 1, but since you went Steelers, which I do think they are very likely to take a wide receiver at some point in the first couple of rounds. I'm going to do Chiefs. I haven't done a wide receiver to the Chiefs yet. Again, if they don't address it in round 1, I think him at their pick, I think where are they? Top of round 2 here. Pick 40. That could be like perfect Brazzle territory. Try to give them some insurance with all of their kind of wide receiver issues. Even with Rashee Rice now unlikely to be suspended. What do you think, John?
Cool. I took the similar approach to your Eli Stowers here with the Eagles at 54 or whatever. I think he gets that capital. I think they take a shot on AJ Brown being out of there, and you go for like kind of like the bigger bodied perimeter, 6'4", 200, blah blah blah. Not definitely not a 1-for-1 replacement by any stretch of the imagination, but and you noted the Tennessee stuff there, that people hate the Tennessee narratives there, but I think you take a shot on someone bigger, because everyone you got on the roster right now is kind of small, and then you already got the tight end with Goddard coming back, so that's where I was going.
Yeah, I'm going with Booty for the AJ Brown replacement. I don't know how that's going to happen. But,
part of the trade. Yeah. Oh,
wait, you think he's going to get traded to the Patriots?
I fell for that bait. I was like, oh, that's how he would end up there. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's your turn for Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy Bernard, not to be confused with Giovanni Bernard from the 2014 draft class. I'm going to hit one of the final wide receiver spots. You guys have hit it with your selections. I have not. I'm going to do Raiders for Jeremy Bernard. I think it'd be a little early based on his projected draft capital for him to go like top of the second round, but who knows what happens. Late second, moving back around or whatever. But the Raiders, like you guys both said, they need to keep taking stabs at wideout. What do you think, John, for Jeremy?
Similar idea to what Nez had with Emmett Johnson, but just at a different position, where it's like the golden stuff didn't really work. Wicks is gone. We need to address something here. Packers go and find a weapon in Jeremy Bernard at 52.
That's fun.
Could really certainly see. I mean, to lose both Dobbs and Wicks. They had really been stockpiling. Either they really like Savion Williams or they're definitely reloading here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good call. I definitely forgot to throw a wide receiver to the Packers in this, but I have for Jeremy, I have the Ravens. I think that they pretty desperate for some extra help at wide receiver, and Jeremy seems to be like a pretty dynamic player here, which maybe fits the Ravens and their just like unique offense. So yeah, give me Jeremy to the Ravens.
There we go. We now have Katron Allen, and I believe John gets the honors here.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This one, like just relative to every other player on the board, was the hardest for me. I don't know if he's going to go above or below Singleton. I don't know if they value, last year's production or last 2 years' production over him. I found it kind of hard. This is not a fun, sexy one, but I think they need backup running back. I think they've talked about taking some miles off of CMC, kind of evergreen statement there, but they got 3 picks at the end of the 4th round, which I think they're going to grab a running back on one of them, that being the Niners. They have 1 pick and then they have 2 comp picks as well. So I had them going to the Niners, but honestly, I don't know. Allen could be the 2nd or 3rd running back off the board and it wouldn't surprise me, or Allen could be a 6th round guy and it wouldn't surprise me. Like, I don't really know how to feel about him.
Yep. Yeah. I keep thinking like benchmarking, like last year was a pretty strong running back class, and Scatabo and Tootin fell to the top around 4. And I think you're going to have guys who are not as good as those two going in round 3 this year, even if their true value is like around 5, if those two guys are around 4. So yeah, the ranges of outcomes, it's just going to be like which of these teams fell in love with one of them in the draft process. What do you think for Allen, Nez?
So I changed my pick because I saw that we were holding hands on the 2025 sheet for the sell of who I think you're going to go with. So I'm gonna take I'm gonna go Bengals here. and say that they get a solid RB2, or at least a potential RB2, future RB1, because the Chase Brown miles, I'm not sure how long that this can sustain for.
Look at that. So it's behind the curtain, Nez and I are copying conditional formatting from last year's tab. And apparently I tipped the pick.
Yep.
Tell me who I was going to pick, and I'll see if you're right.
The Noomies.
Yes. Yeah. I hadn't done the Vikings yet. They again seem like one of those teams who are a lock to take one of these running backs in like rounds 3, 4, or 5. Katron Allen in round 4 to the Vikings. That smells about right to me for them. And they can get their 3-headed monster, and we will all draft Katron Allen ahead of Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, and then like hate ourselves for it. So I know how that movie plays out.
Yep.
All right. We're going to do 2 more here. We'll do Elijah Surratt, who I know is getting some buzz, and then we'll do Ty Simpson for kicks and giggles as well.
I think this one is me.
Yeah, it's Enoch.
Yeah. I have for Surratt, not a super sexy pick, but I've got the Bears. Just losing DJ Moore, really feeling like they want to commit to throwing some weapons around Caleb Williams, and maybe a lack of commitment to Rome Odunze. I feel like there's definitely some questionable feelings there in terms of how they feel about Rome and the production that he's given them so far. So yeah, I got Surratt to Chicago.
Nice.
And then it is to me, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I am going to do, so Elijah Surratt, like super productive in college, outproduced Omar Cooper Jr., probably one of those guys that just like steps on the field and immediately is able to earn targets. Who knows if he has like a massive ceiling or not. I think the Colts are now like a very sneaky or maybe not so sneaky spot to add. They lose Pittman, who was like their possession guy. Everyone likes Josh Downs, but like the Colts have always seemed to kind of slow play it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have this Alec Pierce injury. He should be fine, but 3 months out with an ankle injury. They bring in Nick Westbrook-Akine. Like they need some bodies there, some possession guys. I think Surratt could be like the new kind of Pittman Jr. for them if he really hits the ground running.
Indiana guy too. That would be really fitting.
Oh, I didn't even think about that connection.
Yeah. The Hoosier.
Nice.
Indiana Jones to Indiana Surratt. Yeah, I can see it.
Very similar line of thinking to you, Pete, where early production and a lot of people mocking Sadiq to the Ravens in the first round. I don't think they want to spend that kind of capital on a pass catcher there. So I'm waiting until round 3 at pick 80 for Baltimore here to go get a wide receiver who could give them early production for Lamar.
There you go. Ravens definitely in the mix, always to add weapons. Let's finish out with an honorary Ty Simpson here. I guess some chance he goes round 1, probably way more likely round 2. Who has the honors here?
I think this is John.
All right, John,
Me?
where's Ty Simpson going?
Man, there's literally betting lines out there for Ty Simpson to be week 1 quarterback for Arizona. So like that seems like the chalk to me. That feels like they could trade back into the first for it. They could do it at the end of the second. I'm going to take the chalk donk play here and take the Cardinals. It's not the most fun play in the world there, but I don't know, man. Market seems to be on this one. So I'm doing Ty Simpson to the Cardinals.
Hang on. Let me just nitpick your language. Is there a fun play for Ty Simpson? Is there one place where like this would be fun?
I mean, I guess it depends on your evaluation of Ty Simpson, but I don't know.
Definition of fun.
Yeah, definition of fun. I think there's definitely spots where he could be like taken higher than this, and people think he's the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
Ty Simpson starting before Mendoza would be crazy.
Yeah.
Mendoza's gonna start week 1.
It's not a lock.
I don't think Mendoza's starting week 1. I think Kirk Cousins is starting week 1.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I know.
I think they're doing the Drake May timeline with Mendoza, like week 4, 5, 6. They're like, all right, fine, we'll do it.
Okay.
Ty Simpson, I got him to the goddamn Jets.
Oh, there you go. Steven and you in lockstep at the same time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Steven. Me and Steven, just a mind meld. It's just obvious, right? They got Geno Smith here to backfill a little apology tour for them to like say sorry for not believing in him and writing back. And I mean, he was a disaster last year, but it was the Raiders. But the Jets are East Coast Raiders. So who knows how this is going to go.
Okay.
So 8T tipped mine and can't believe Nez is going to get scooped here.
I just know better. They're not going to take them. I know better. They're not going to take them.
Let me spin a yarn.
All right.
Let me spin a yarn. Aaron Rodgers still hasn't committed to come back. They're not planning to make any decisions before the NFL draft. And the Steelers finally say, we're sick of your bullshit, man. And we're no stranger at drafting a bust in round 1. Let's do the Kenny Pickett thing all over again. Let's take Ty Simpson.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't give them a wide receiver in my mock, so I have a free round 1 pick for the Steelers to go and draft Ty Simpson there. Nez didn't have the heart to do it, but as an objective bystander, I know what's going to happen.
All right.
I like it. Who was their smoke around them Steelers taking last year in the back end of the first round at quarterback?
Shador.
Right. Yeah. And then everybody was in the know was like, no way. But yeah. Okay.
Here's the thing though. Ty Simpson is in a locker room cancer with an uber famous father,
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I would give up anything for the Steelers to have taken Tyler Shuck.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been nice.
Anything.
Yes. But isn't that kind of the point where it's like no one was that excited about Tyler Shuck heading into last year, but it's just like if he is slightly better than expected, now you actually have something you can work with for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Shuck.
Well, that's
so it is.
Oh, sorry. That's just the thought process on the North Dakota State kid, right? Like that's the fun next project that people are steaming up right now.
I don't know who that is.
Apparently he's like a toolsy like Trey Lance kind of like this is the guy who's getting steam now.
Oh, what's his name?
I can't remember.
Is it Cole Payton?
Sounds right.
That's a good name.
I just remember, I forget what we were talking. Yeah, it's Cole Payton.
Yeah, like he's kind of like the one that people want to get like excited about to find like the landing spot for.
And you know what? He's got QB face too. Shout out to Colin Cowherd. I'm actually way in on this guy. Wow, and he's a lefty.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I mean, dude, this is like the most like young John Elway ass looking dude you could find here.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a football player.
Look at those biceps.
Yeah,
that's a football player. A-Win, no basketball or baseball today. Then what do you guys got for him? Programming notes.
You know what? A-Win doesn't need our help. Like we gave him enough help yesterday to win $100,000. So A-Win doesn't need our help today. He took down the redacted contest yesterday.
Is that the only reason he's in the chat? Because he's like fishing for a little winner circle shout out.
To be fair, he's also in the DMs right now saying, "Can we fill some Toe Drag Tuesdays? Get in here." So, I mean, this guy is just sick with it. No, not today, A-Win. I was gonna try and do 5 sports in one day, but I don't got it in me today. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll talk through it all.
Also, I missed this. Thank you as always, Bindles, Mr. Santa Claus, when it comes to the YouTube Membies, gifting them out here.
That is the new thing going around, Pete, is you get run good for 1 day for 1 Memby on the channel, because Ryan's hanging out in the chat too, and he dropped off 1 yesterday for the run good, and then he shipped the puck slate for 1K. So this is the new thing. You drop off a Memby for the run good. That's how it's done.
There you go. Also seeing Bindles, who I know applied for So You Think You Can Tout. That reminds me, the contest in the applications lock on Thursday. So nice. When the clock strikes midnight into Friday, no more submissions. Roulette dealer says no more placing your chips down. But yeah, I think I'm up to, let me check my spreadsheet right now. As of this moment, 85 submissions.
Dude,
85
that's
submissions.
Very cool. Like just that's just very cool.
Wow.
Yeah. It is. And I feel like we've been on such a journey. I mean, like you go back to April 2nd, I see Ray Zani, who filled out the form and didn't even submit a video. And now we have people trying to resubmit. I'm going to have to deal with you, Chad Candles, in the second submission that came in. I'm going to have to talk to my brain trust and see how we're going to handle this. But yeah, very excited about that. I'm also going to have, I don't mind saying it now because I'm going to record with him and hopefully get it out soon. I'm recording an interview for the So You Think You Can Shout channel with Alex Piper, who is an executive at YouTube. He's the one that picked me to do the YouTube pregame show. And what I didn't know, I know he had worked in TV for a long time. He worked at Fox on American Idol, on So You Think You Can Dance. And so I'm going to have a conversation with him, what goes into producing these shows. I'm going to pick his brain for like things that I should be looking for. And then just having the tie-in of him, you know, being a fantasy guy who watched my stuff. It should be like a really fun convo specifically for the show.
We live in a fucking simulation, Pete. That's too cool and makes too much sense. And that's crazy that worked out like that. Well, I just wanted to say real quick, 2 things. Shout out to the production value. I see Chad saying they wanted some more creativity there. I saw the Candyman's video today. That's what I'm talking about. Production value. We got different videos overlapping. We got his face in a newspaper. The people are getting the message now. I love this so much.
I like it. There was a really funny submission that came in last night from a guy named Kyle who accidentally submitted to a show called So You Think You Have Gout. I really enjoyed that submission. I think he's an Underdog guy too.
That is so fucking funny, man. Oh
yeah, Kyle,
God.
House Always Wins. He told me about his. Do you guys
I definitely know that screen name. I definitely know Kyle.
Yeah, House Always Wins. So yeah, he's got gout, and I'm prepared to diagnose it officially.
That's funny, man.
On the show. So yes, love seeing the creativity. Yeah, I have Swolecast today at 3. Anything else for you guys?
Yeah, one last shout out to Troy's in the chat there. He said the Run Good bit works there. Yeah, he gifted 1 and then he took down the baseball slate as well. So
he had a nasty day. He had 5 in the top 20. Shout out Troy, man.
Ooh.
Shout out Alex Call and Dalton Rushing, bro.
There you go. Yes, for people who came in late, we did the first half of the show was all World Cup DFS talk with Alex FearMyTurtle, and we got a couple months until that locks, and so we'll circle back to that. But we had to squeeze in our NFL draft prediction game, and then guys, a week from today, we'll be drafting something. I think the plan will be for the summer, like once we really get rolling, to focus on like the side contests and rotating through those. But we'll draft whatever's available on Tuesday for us.
Yeah, can't wait. Going to have a lot to talk about after the weekend. Also, good reminder to everybody that BBM will be dropping right kind of after the draft ish. That was kind of the timeline the last couple of years, right?
So the last year it dropped like 11 a.m. on Monday because I remember I went live for Best Ball Breakfast. It hadn't posted yet, and then it posted like an hour in.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, and you got a great schedule for Monday, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you guys missed it on Best Ball Breakfast, this is the lineup. I'll be doing a solo draft to kick things off. Levitan is taking the mantle from Leone. Leone is not able to do it this year, and Levitan said, I will step in and I will grind my cock to a nub drafting best ball teams in April with you. We got to get the champ in here. So double new blood this year, Sam Sherman. And of course, Pat Corain, who's been a mainstay on the rotation, will be batting cleanup. So going to be really fun block of shows every Monday this summer.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
All right, guys. That's going to be it. Or did you guys mention what is your programming note for the rest of the week?
Business as usual, 2 p.m. Eastern for the people every single day. We'll talk through hoops and baseball tomorrow. And then Thursday, I think it's like a little bit of a small baseball slate getaway day. So that one probably go members only, talk hoops, and maybe do something of the best ball variety. I'll be mixing in some puck at the tail end of shows too for everybody. We'll kind of do our 2 hours, me and Nez, and then I'll do some puck stuff for the people too. So it's not forgotten. So just tons of daily stuff going on for the next couple days here. That was the end of our football, and then we'll do some best ball stuff early next week as well.
Perfect. All right. Appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. We'll see you in all of the lobbies. Enjoy the NFL draft, and be sure to check out the ship chasing live stream on Thursday night as well. For John, for Nez, for Alex, we will see you guys next time on Off and On the Clock.